Thank you for being here. Today, we're going to work on that integral breathing, that breath of integrity and the breath of trust that I've alluded to in the live classes. And I'm going to walk you through it, and then we're going to practice it. So to start, get really solid in your seat, right? Make sure that you're really anchored. I talk about integrity. This is always a physical practice. And, I've mentioned integrity is physical, not mental, right? Structural integrity is the integrity of the building. Our integrity is physical as well, right? Same with trust, actually. It's also a physical thing. It's very embodied, and it's really about trusting yourself first and foremost, and then being able to extend that trust beyond. So if a building has structural integrity, it has a strong foundation first. So get your foundation strong. Go this down a little bit. So there's a couple of different ways to do this in a chair. You can sit all the way back and make sure your sit bones are really grounded, that your flesh is out, and that, I think you can even see them here, can you? Your feet are flat on the floor, okay? Elbows at the side, hands on the thighs. Hands are not on the knees because then you crouch over, right? But first get this foundation right. If that's the supported way. If you want to develop the muscles in your back, you can also sit on the edge of the chair, right? Now, there's a sweet spot here. If I sit too far back, I will hunch. If I sit too far forward, I'll fall off. You need to find that sweet spot on the edge. This works mostly in a hard chair, where this slight arch on my back, now I'm getting ahead of myself to the scaffolding, happens on its own. So with structural integrity, the two pieces are a strong foundation and strong internal scaffolding. We get our foundation square, and then that enables, because you can't have that in scaffolding strong and solid if the foundation it's built upon isn't solid. So we start with the foundation, and that's your sit bones if you're sitting, your feet if you're standing. You can press into all four corners of your feet, and actually even as you sit, press into them. You'll feel yourself get taller as you press into your feet. The point of sitting on the edge is, if my internal scaffolding is my spine, so if I'm hunched over, I am not in my integrity. Right, for me, because I tend to hunch. If you tend to overpronate, it might actually be a bit of a tucking in of your pelvis. But for me, I know, and for most people, especially in this age, we tend to hunch. It's a slight arch of the back, which raises the sternum, opens the chest, and drops the shoulders. And that's where this seated position on the edge of the chair comes in, because when I'm on the edge of the chair is creating the arch. If I sit back here, I can force an arch, but over time it'll fatigue and I'll collapse. But when I sit on the edge, now I'm supported. This is the beginning of integrity. It is in the foundation that you start with and how you build your own strength to stay upright. That's part one. So come into that strong seated position. For me, while I'm talking, and here it's actually helpful for me to sit back. So I sit all the way back. And one of the key pieces to that arch in the back is that your hips are higher than your knees. For me in this position, because the edge of the seat actually raises up my thighs, I'm a little bit tall, to sit like this is how, most of the time when you guys can't see me, this is how I'm seated, right? So I'm going to come into this position because this is how I am in my physical integrity. I'm well supported. And from here, right, now I have a strong foundation, strong scaffolding. The third piece that makes a building livable, a building have structural architectural integrity, or you, is spaciousness. In order to create spaciousness, now that you're solid in your seat, there's 5 steps. First, just take a breath. Second, let yourself become physically very still. Now that you've become physically still, slow down. Slow down your breath. Slow down your heart rate. Slow down your mind. Take a breath. Become still. Slow down. Experiment with these. As you breathe still and slow down, your perception and awareness will increase. You'll also become more embodied, more present, more in your own integrity, more aware, more self-aware. Right? This is the beginning. The fourth step is to relax. Sometimes that just takes taking another deep breath in and let yourself melt. Fall into your chair. Keep slowing down. Tension is resistance. It's a protective mechanism that has its utility until it doesn't. Okay? Trust is actually non-resistance. It's a welcoming in. Integrity requires you to be fully aware of your body and yourself and the world around you in order to trust it. If you're resistant, you have a wall up to that intimacy, to that connection, which may be protective. So you don't have to force yourself to relax, but if you can breathe in, see what naturally falls. You can also trust the tension. Yeah. Breathe into it, allow it to be there. So we took a breath. We became still. We slow down. And we relax. The fifth step is we move into the unknown. And that's as simple as becoming curious. The present moment is unknown. To be fully present demands curiosity and not knowing. All of our thoughts and emotions are of the past. They're old information, which has its utility and importance. We don't get rid of it. But to be present demands real presence, demands your curiosity. Curiosity is openness, is non-resistance, which is what we're doing as we become still, slow, relaxed. And then to really open into curiosity, it's as easy as just reminding yourself it's not what I think it is. It's not what I think. This breath is not what I think. This self, this body, this existence, it's not what I think it is. It's beyond finding out. And there's a paradox that in that not knowing, you actually can open up into the more, what's beyond knowledge. Right? All knowing is limited. We're practicing opening up into the more. Then just breathe. Go into the silence. Still, slow, relaxed, not knowing, curious. Just notice. This is embodiment. This is true power, true presence. And as you relax into the silence, keep slowing down. And a couple of lessons ago, I talked about the belly breath, like this lower belly breath. And that this is the home of groundedness and trust. When you're grounded and trusting, we don't trust the head because, I've alluded to this. The head has ideas, and we've seen all of our ideas and notions change, right? When I can think something is great and good and later think it's bad. I can think something is bad and later think it's good. I mean, butter, right? It's been bad, it's been good, it's been good, it's been bad. Don't know. The heart is the same, right? It has its desires and its fears. And often things we sometimes fear often become things we actually want, and the things we want become things we fear. This is malleable. This is malleable. We want to go into the solid, right? But we don't get rid of the head and the heart. So I'm going to walk you now into a lower belly breath by walking you first into your head and then into your heart, then into your upper belly, and then we'll keep dropping lower and lower. This is how you drop into and develop a lower belly breath. So now that you're strong and solid in your seated position, still, slow, relaxed, curious, take a deep, full inhale into the top of your head. Fill your entire head with all the oxygen in the room. When you think you can't fill anymore, take a little more in and then hold. And then totally exhale. You can even sigh if you want, and let that breath and energy fall into the front of your heart. And as you exhale everything into the front of your heart, pause there. Wait. And then after you pause, take a full inhale into the front of your heart, all the way to the back of your shoulder blades. Fill your entire chest cavity in 4 directions, your rib cage, your chest, your back, with all the oxygen in the room. And then exhale, you're welcome to sigh and release. Let it drop into the front of your diaphragm here. Let it fall. Exhale everything and pause. And then breathe fully into your diaphragm and rib cage, expanding in all 4 directions. And as you exhale, let the breath fall to right around your belly button or just below your belly button. See how we keep dropping. We don't force. Now inhale fully into this place around your belly button and just below in all 4 directions. And as you exhale, let the breath fall into the front of your lowest part of your lower belly, where your torso meets your thighs. And then pause there. And now breathing into this lowest part of your lower belly in all 4 directions. Your lower belly, the small of your back, your hips, all 10 directions. Expand. And then this time as you exhale, actually push down and back into the bottom of your sit bones and tailbone. Get really anchored. And now on the next inhale, you inhale from the tailbone and the sit bones through this lowest part of your lower belly, your pelvic floor, your torso, your hips, the small of your back. And then exhale back and down into the sit bones. For a few moments, practice breathing into this lowest part of your lower belly. Turn all of your attention inward. Eyes cast down, not closed, but cast down. We're not closing our eyes to reality. We want to be in reality. Integrity is in reality, in the here and now. We're not closing our eyes to anything. Cast down, yet all of my attention turn inward. This is your lower belly breath. This is the anchor of your trust and your integrity. We will sit here for 5 minutes. I know we're already at noon, so we're going to go a few minutes over. If you have the time, I'll set a bell to start and a bell to end. And come back to this anytime that you forget or need teaching in how to come back into your body, your breath, the guidance to just stop, breathe, become physically still, slow down, relax, melt, become curious, breathing from that lowest part of your lower belly, curious, relaxed, and still. Enjoy the 5 minutes of silence, of presence. To me, this is real love, real self-love. This time in silence, just with yourself, exactly as you are. Nothing to do, fix, solve, understand. Just this precious fleeting moment to be awake to. It's just breathing. In those 5 minutes, whether you know it or not, you were practicing integrity. You were practicing trust. You were practicing embodiment. That's literally being in your body. Right? When we see someone who's poised and embodied, they're in their body. Right? From my perspective, that's real power. It's real presence, grace, all these great things, gravitas, integrity. They're a physical practice. This is the good news. Anyone can develop them. It takes just at least 5 minutes a day to just stop and sit. Because like any other skill, if you don't practice it, it cannot become second nature. And the extent to which it becomes second nature and how easily you can access it is completely dependent upon how much and how frequently you practice. Right? If I wanted to get on a stage in 3 months and play the guitar, I'd have to be practicing at least 8 or 9 hours a day. I don't want to do that. But I do want to live my life fully embodied, totally present in my integrity, in a sense of trust of myself, especially when I seemingly do or say the wrong thing. I want to be able to love and trust myself. And that is presence, and presence is a practice. So we just did 5 minutes today because I really want to walk through all of those techniques and have it in a space that it's recorded so that you can later access this. Should you need a reminder or forget, you can come back to this. Next week, I'm going to, we'll sit for 10 minutes. We'll actually really get deeper into the practice. But between now and then, practice. This is your life. And if you want this sort of a presence in your life to be your habit, you've got to love yourself enough to take 5-10 minutes a day to just sit with yourself as you are, to breathe into you as you are, to notice yourself as you are. We always want people to notice us often. Are you noticing yourself? Are you noticing the tension in your body? Are you noticing the thoughts that are in your head? This is why it's a good thing when you sit and your mind seems loud. You're actually paying attention to yourself for the first time. You're hearing your own thoughts. And that might be loud for a while until your mind feels heard and seen by you. Same with your emotions. Everything is it. I hope you can be patient and gracious and loving and generous with yourself, breath by breath. Yeah. And if you can't yet, that's totally fine, right? Often I can't, right? That too is it. That's also the practice. Okay, I can't do this right now. Cool. It's movement. We keep on being with whatever is. I'm so grateful for your time and your attention and showing up. I will see you guys next Tuesday on YouTube if you're available. We're going to continue the discussion on integrity using chapter 40, I believe it's 42 of the second book of the Tao. And we'll go a little bit deeper into that. But remember that first line of chapter 42, integrity is your true nature. You're already it. You already are. You are the you've always wanted to be. It's never more than a breath away. And here's the thing, you're always breathing. All right, thank you guys. Sitting with you all week, and I will see you hopefully Tuesday and next Thursday again for the practice session. Have a beautiful week, and I'm grateful, quite grateful. Thanks. Bye.